Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there was a princess, and she was out and about playing with her favorite toy, a little stuffed bear. And she was playing and having the greatest time, and then she accidentally tripped, and her ball fell into the river. And she was sitting by the riverside crying because she didn't know how to swim, so she couldn't go get it herself. When along hops this little frog, and he hops right up, and he looks up at the princess and says, "Princess, I can get your teddy bear for you." "Really? That would be so kind. All I want in return is for you to be my best friend." And the princess thinks about it. She says, "Okay, that sounds fair." So the frog dives into the pool, and a minute later, he comes out with her teddy bear, and he hands it back to her. And she's so happy. But instead of being a friend to the frog, she turns and she runs away. So the frog is pretty upset. But the next day, he decides he's going to go to the castle and make things right. So he hops his way from the river over to the big castle. And when he gets to the big castle, he knocks on the door. And the door swings open. And he says, "Princess, it's me. You promised we could be best friends." And the princess sees him, and she screams, "I don't want to be your friend." And her dad, the king, hears and asks the frog what the story is. The frog tells him, "Your princess lost her teddy bear in the river, and I jumped in and got it. And I said in return I wanted to be best friends, and she agreed. And now she won't." And the king got very upset. He said, No, my daughter. You made a promise, and you have to keep it." "Fine." So they let the frog in, and they go into the backyard, and they play. They take the teddy bear and all of the princess's other wonderful toys, and they have a great time. And then it comes time to eat dinner. So they go inside, and the princess sits, and her food is placed in front of her, and it's a great feast. And as she's eating, the frog hops right up on the table and puts his little froggy hand out and takes a piece of food off of her plate and eats it. And the princess screams, No, you can't eat off my plate. You can't even eat human food." And her father hears this, the king, and says, No, my daughter. You made a promise to be best friends, so you have to share." "Fine." So the princess divides her food, and she puts some of it on a plate for the frog, and she keeps some of it for herself. And all is well. They enjoy a nice meal, and they laugh, and they have fun, and they have great food. And then the time comes to go to sleep. And the frog follows the princess up to her room. And they get up to her room, and she goes inside, and she slams the door right in his face. And he knocks. And she opens it the teeniest bit. "What do you want?" "Well, I thought we were going to have a sleepover." "No, I'm not having a frog sleep in my bedroom." And as she says this, her dad, the king, is walking by. He says, "Oh, no, my daughter. You made a promise, and you have to keep it." "Fine." So she opens the door, and the frog hops in. And once they're inside, the frog hops right up to her bed and jumps right on and settles right next to her pillow. And she says, No, I'm not sleeping with a frog in my bed. No. And the frog says, Well, there's one other thing. If you give me one kiss, then I will go away forever." She was not happy. She did not want to kiss a frog. But if the frog would leave, maybe one little kiss wouldn't be worth it, because then at least she wouldn't have to sleep with this slimy frog in her bed. So she thought really carefully about it, and then she picked the frog up, and she gave him a kiss, and she dropped it. And as soon as she gave him a kiss and dropped him, he turned into the most handsome prince in the whole world. And she went, And the prince explained that he was cursed to be a frog, and the only thing that could break it was the help of a beautiful princess. And the princess said, well, if you had just told me from the start. He said, oh, no, it was a curse. I couldn't just tell you. I had to be your friend, and then I had to convince you that you wanted to kiss me for some reason. So now, you kept your end of the deal. You were my friend, so I'll keep my end, and I'll go away forever. And she said, wait. Now that I know you're a person, maybe we don't have to go away. You don't have to go away right away. He said, well, what do you have in mind? And they sat and they talked and they talked. And they talked the next day and the day after that, and they got to know each other very well. And then one day they got married, and they went to his kingdom, and they ruled there as the king and queen, and they lived happily ever after.